Right. Textbook in English for class 10th. I am explaining the very first chapter, A Letter to God by G.L. Fields. Before you read, they say faith can move mountains. Really, if we have faith in anything, we can do any impossible thing. But what should we put our faith in? But we should be very clear about the person, about the thing in which we are putting faith. This is the question this story, in a very nice way, poses in front of us. Lencho is a farmer who writes a letter to God when his crops are totally spoiled. Actually, he asks for 100 pesos. Does his letter reach God? Does God send him the money? We have to think about these answers. Now, there is the story. The house that was the only one in one total valley. It was at the top of the hill, and from a great height one could easily see the river, the field of ripened corn that were totally covered with flowers, and every year it used to give a nice crop. The only thing at that time, the earth was in need of one simple shower, only one downpour. Throughout the morning, the main character of the story, that is Lencho, who had been really very close to his fields, he was just watching and watching the sky because he was hopeful of the special rain. And he started saying to his wife, yes, we are really going to get some water. Water means here rain. Means he was very hopeful about that. Actually, he had a great faith in God. And the woman also replied, who was busy in preparing dinner. Yes, if God wants. The older boys were working in the field. Older stands for the elder children, while the small ones means the young ones were just playing till the woman called them all for the dinner. It was the meal time that, as Lencho has predicted means he thought earlier, he forecast, rain started just falling. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds were visible. The air was very fresh, it was filled with fragrance. The man went out and he was so happy. He wanted to feel the rain on his body. When he returned, he started saying, it is not simple rain. Rather, these drops are like new coins. New coins means the real money because his life was dependent on the money. The big drops were like 10-cent pieces and the little drops were fives. With a satisfied expression means he was very happy. He started checking his field that was covered with flowers and it was covered with rain at that time. But by chance, all of a sudden, a strong wind started blowing and with heavy rain, hailstones came. They were really looking like silver coins at that time. Silver coins for the boys because they wanted to collect those frozen pearls. Frozen pearls means the coins. It is really getting bad now. The man was worried. He started saying it is very bad for us because he hoped that it should go quickly. Otherwise, everything will be spoiled. But everything happened just opposite of his hopes. For 1 hour, the hail just came and came. It started falling on his house, garden, hillside, the fields. The total valley at that time was covered with just hailstorm, and it was looking like salt. Not even a single leaf was on the trees. The corn was totally spoiled. The flowers were no more, and the farmer was totally depressed. When the storm was over, he started standing in the middle of the field. He called his sons and he said, that his crops were totally destroyed. The hail had not left anything. It was really worse than the insects. And he was totally worried because it was a sorrowful night as his total work was destroyed. He started saying that there is no one who could help them. They could starve that year. But in the hearts of all, means all the family members who were living in that just lone house that was just alone in the valley, there was just one refuge. Means they wanted to get one hope that was only from God, and he was getting consolation from one or another. Don't be upset, means he shouldn't lose hope because there is no total loss, because no one can die of hunger. Then he started recalling, yes, what they say. Means what people say, no one can die because of hunger. Then throughout the night, Lencho wanted just one help from God because he had been instructed, means he had been taught in his youth that everything happens according to God's will. Whatever is in one's soul, that happens. Lencho was at that time like an ox. Ox means he was very, very hard working man. Every time he worked for his fields. But he was literate. He wanted to write a letter. By chance, the next Sunday, in the early morning, he started writing a letter and he himself went to the town. And there was one letter to real God. He wrote that, "Oh God, if you don't help me, my family and I would be hungry throughout this year," because he needed special loan, special help from God, that was 100 pesos, so that he could sow his field and he could survive. And he wrote one reason also to God, because of the hailstorm, everything happened. He wrote just one simple address to God, put the letter, and he was really troubled, means he was tensed, as he wanted to get money, but he was unhappy at that time. At the post office, he put one stamp on the letter and dropped in a hope to get one response. By chance, one of the employees, who was a postman, and every time he helped at the post office, went to his boss because they were totally shocked. They started laughing, and he showed that letter to God. Never in his career as a postman he had got likewise address. That's why it was one matter of laughing. The postmaster, who was fat, who was very social, he also started laughing, but quickly he became very, very sober. He started tapping the letter on his desk and he said, "What kind of faith I am checking?" Because I had never checked likewise ardent or passionate faith of a man who could write this letter to God. Oh, he has started writing to God himself. That's why, in order not to break the writer's belief in God, the postmaster who was shown the letter by a postman, he just got one idea that he should give answer. Otherwise, the man's faith would be broken. But when he opened that, it was evident. Evident means it was very clear that the man needed not only wishes, not only ink, paper were needed, rather he needed money. But he stands for the postmaster. He was really stuck to his decision. He asked for money. Actually, he didn't have a lot of money to help that man. That's why he got help from his employees. He gave one special part of his salary from many friends. He got money for one special act of charity, means he donated the total money. But it was not possible for him to collect the total 100 pesos at that time. That's why he could send the farmer only little more than half. He put the money in an envelope and address was same. That was God. He wrote this and sent that letter's response. Till now, we have got one idea that one person, Lancho, a simple farmer, unbelievable man, sent one letter to God and he got response in the form of money by a person, that is the postmaster. Now, the following Sunday, Lancho came a bit earlier, means he came earlier than usual. Than he used to come earlier. There, if there was any letter for him, means he went in the post office. It was the postman himself who gave the letter to him, while the postmaster, because he was very happy, he wanted to check that man about his special work, how he would feel. He started looking at that person. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise. At that time, the farmer was not at all surprised after checking the money. This was his high confidence. Rather, he became very angry when he counted the money because money was not 100 pesos that he wanted. He started thinking God could not have made a mistake because God is perfect and he could never say no to Lancho, whatever was requested by him. Quickly, Lancho went up to the window to ask for paper and ink. Why? Because he wanted to write again to God, as he had one complaint. On the public writing table, only in the post office, he started writing back to God, and he had special wrinkling of his brow. Wrinkling means he was very angry. He had many lines at his forehead and he was just writing special letter to God with one complaint. When he wrote, he went to the window to buy one stamp that he licked, then put the envelope with a blow of his fist, means he wanted to send back quickly at that time with complaint to God. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster was very anxious. He opened because he wanted to read what was said by the letter. Yes, what was written? God. Of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. This is the special saying from Lencho. Oh God, you have not sent me total money. It was just 70. Send me the rest of the money because I need it urgently. And this time I request you have not to send it through the mail because the post office officials are a group of bad fellows. This was the letter written by Lencho. The story completes. Now we can guess that it is unbelievable letter by unbelievable person and in an unbelievable way he wrote. How one person can be so stupid or very simple, we have to think about it. Now I will explain the questions oral comprehension test. First question, what did Lenzo hope for? Lenzo hoped for simple downpour for his ripened corn field. He believed that the earth needed at that time simple rain. He was really very hopeful because that simple rain could be enough for his field and for his survival. Second question, why did Lennon say the raindrops were like new coins? One special simile is given here. Lennon said those raindrops were like new coins. Coins means money. The raindrops were not really pleasurable for Lennon as just looking. Rather, the raindrops were needed for the survival of his crops, of his family. That's why he said the raindrops were like falling money on his fields. Third question, how did the rain change? What happened to Lencho's fields? The rain all of a sudden changed from a simple downpour into hailstorm. That was really horrible for him to look at because Lencho's total fields were destroyed. There was not even a single leaf in his field. Everywhere there was whiteness. The total field was converted into white colored salt lake. And he was totally depressed because his crops, his land, his family were ruined. Now, fourth question. What were Lencho's feelings when the hail stopped? Lencho was totally depressed because he hoped a simple downpour would be enough. But by chance, the simple downpour changed into heavy hailstorm. At that time, he was really upset. When the hail stopped, he started feeling that there was no refuge for him. There was just everything over in his life. He would starve because of that hailstorm. He was totally depressed, unhappy, and miserable after the hailstorm. Next, oral comprehension. First question, who or what did Lencho have faith in? What did he do? Lencho had complete faith in God because he had been instructed from his youth time that God was his complete refuge. That's why he didn't look here or there. Rather, he started thinking because he could write. He wrote a letter in the name of God. And he didn't request, rather simply wrote that he wanted 100 pesos for his survival because of hailstorm. And he really wanted to sow the field. After that, he could survive. Second question, who read the letter? The letter was read by the postmaster. First, the postmaster, like the postman, started laughing at the first go, but he became all of a sudden very serious because he had never checked likewise content earlier. Because that letter was not sent to any simple person, it was sent to God, and he wanted one help from God. Now, third question, what did the postmaster do then? Postmaster really wanted to help the person because he had never seen or noticed the climax of confidence or special faith in God by a person. That's why he didn't want to shake off that person's faith in God and he wanted to help. So he collected the money with the help of post officials and from the part of his salary to send money to that bank. And he really sent to with the address got. Now, oral comprehension check. First question, was Lencho surprised to find a letter for him with money in it? No, Lencho was not at all surprised to find a letter for him with money in it. We can say he was so thankless person. And in another way, he was so simple minded that he had faith in God, that God had to send money. Rather, he became angry as he couldn't get the total money because he hoped that the total request would be attended by God. Now, second question, what made him angry? He was so angry after getting just 70 pesos from God because he started thinking God could never have made likewise mistake and he could never refuse any person for the request that Lencho wanted to get from God. That's why he was very angry and he wrote one letter again in the name of God to send the rest of the money, but not through the mail. Now the textual questions. First, who does Lencho have complete faith in? Which sentences in the story tell you this? Answer, Lencho has complete faith in God, God Almighty. And there are many sentences in the story. Typical are two. First one, God, comma, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. Next sentence, you can write, send me the rest since I need it very much, but don't send it me through the mail. Now, second question. Why does the postmaster send money to Lencho? Why does he sign the letter God? Answer. The postmaster sends money to Lencho because he was completely surprised to check the height of confidence and faith in God from a man's side because he had never checked likewise. That's why he wanted to help that man, and he did not want to shake off his faith in God, and he decided to send money. And he signs the letter God because he really wanted to leave the impression that God had sent him money, not a simple man. Now, third question. Did Lencho try to find out who had sent the money to him? Why or why not? No, Lencho did not try to find out who had sent the money to him. He didn't have any doubt that God could not have sent him money. Rather, he was quite assured that God had to send him money. And he was just thinking that God could never have denied him to help. Now, fourth question. Who does Lencho think has taken the rest of the money? What is the irony in the situation? Yes, now first, the irony of a situation is unexpected thing. When we hope for one thing and by chance opposite happens, that is called irony. So we can say Lencho behaves in one ironical manner because Lencho thinks that the rest of the money, that was 30 pesos, must have been taken by the post officials because he is quite doubtful about the common person's attitude, and there is a lot of irony in the situation, but he thinks it was not right. Rather, the same post officials had to help him not to shake off his faith in God. There is nice irony to look at. Now, fifth question. Are there people like Lencho in the real world? What kind of a person would you say he is? Yes, answer you can write that Lencho was really a knave fellow. Knave means he was so simple-minded, unbelievable character that we can hardly find in our society. And next idea, he can be called very stupid because he was so introvert, he was so selfish that he could never have thought about any other person. He was totally engrossed in his own world, and he was ungrateful. He was not thankful to God. Rather, he became angry when he couldn't get the total money. And last point, we can say that he was a comical character because we can laugh at his stupidity. That one person can be so simple that can never be found in the society easily, off and on. Now, last question. There are two kinds of conflicts in the story between humans and nature and between humans themselves. How are these conflicts illustrated? Yes, there are two kinds of conflicts. Conflicts means tussle, means there is one kind of fight every time going on between humans and nature. Whatever man proposes, sometimes it is disposed by nature. Nature can be very harsh, then all the humans have to feel very miserable, and they are every time at the mercy of nature. Every time this conflict goes on, and in the end, it is the survival of the fittest. And there is one more kind of conflict, that is humans and humans. Means sometimes some humans can be just against of other humans. They have doubt that other humans are very selfish. Because of that idea or attitude, there are many goals in the society, in the countries, or in the different nations. The extra questions from this text are given in the link below in the description. And the extra questions are: number one, is the title of the story apt? Question mark. Second question possible: give a character sketch of main man, that is Lencho.